swimming the forbidden zone. They were captured by the shrewdness of apes. But what the hell is the shrewdness of apes? And why is Taylor wearing a man frock and saying city looks like Fraggle Rock? Did the Chambers, did the Innsmouth, Mr. Spock? This is just the fact we try not to mock on. The minute of the apes. 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 Yeah.
Hello, and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes films, 1 minute at a time. I'm your host, Todd. Across from me, I've got Richard and Sean.
Hello.
Hello.
We're still in the northern annex of the Men of the Apes podcast.
And that's true. I stowed you guys away for a whole week. I kept you in my little compound, and we're still here. We got dogs barking outside. We got wives and daughters everywhere.
Still
Send
trapped.
help. Send food.
I did feed them. We actually just got done with their first feeding for a week. But we're in minute 66. We begin with Zaius' intro and ends with the question of Taylor with the charges against him. Sean, do you have a count for us?
We still have our 2 living humans, our 2 confirmed dead, Dodge and Stewart, our shrewdness of apes, and a gaggle of humanoids.
And most of all, we have a gathering of some kind of assembly.
And another shrewdness of apes, yes.
And we know right away that Zaius is now the chief defender of the faith. That hit me right away. So
Yes.
all the things we questioned up to this point, we now know that he is of the faith.
He's also science and some sort of religious portion
Yes, I mean,
of it.
that was what kind of came out of this. We said, on my right, Dr. Maximus, Commissioner for Animal Affairs, which we know he's the Commissioner of Animal Affairs. On my left, Dr. Zaius, Minister of Science and the Chief Defender of Faith. So in this society, science and faith are one and the same.
And isn't that weird, especially with what we have today where everybody wants to, it's either you can't believe science if you believe the religion, or you can't believe the religion if you believe the science. For him to be controlling both. Isn't that kind of weird?
I think it speaks to this moment and all moments when you talk about faith and science. I mean, they want those things to be synonymous with one another. And
they truly are intertwined at this point. And maybe that goes to Zaius' command over the whole thing. He controls every facet of it. If there's scientific proof, then I lean on the faith. If there's faith, then I lean on scientific proof. And if I control both, you can't question anything. Wow, I completely
All right, so
stunted the conversation with that assertion.
I see you want to say something, Richard. What do you want to say?
I'm just trying to figure out how to break this down at this point without revealing future minutes and talking about past minutes.
Right.
Well, then
We know that Cornelius is under Dr. Zaius, that Cornelius has gotten his approval to do his research and his archaeological digs, right?
yeah,
Right.
But he's also warned him as well about getting too close to his science. It's kind of a weird place to be. We want you to explore. We'll give you that permission, but we're also not going to let you go there.
It's really weird that, and looking at my notes, I can't remember where this comes in, and the subsequent minutes will help us to at least break down what religion is, what science is, but I don't see how you put these two out there and you have one person controlling them, because Cornelius and Zira definitely represent the scientific approach to it of what is this, what's come, what does this mean. Zaius is the dogmatic person suppressing it through necessity. It's a weird minute to be in because there's a lot of contradictions in what one man can control and control everything.
So we have, he glances then at the notes say, the script says at the prosecutor, but he says appearing for the state, Dr. Honoris,
however you want to say it. Yeah.
Which we debated before in our pre-production of this. We were like, how the hell do you say it? So Honorius,
Deputy Minister of Justice.
Right.
So he's appearing for the state. Now, at this point, do you think that he's defending Taylor, or do you think that he's
He's
prosecuting
for the states, or he's prosecuting.
Yeah, I thought he was the prosecutor. Immediately,
All right.
I thought he is the one because again, we've seen Cornelius and Zara. We know that they're the ones who are on his side.
Yeah, the defendants. Yeah.
All right, so judgment is being decided by the president of the assembly, the commissioner for animal affairs, the minister of science, and the chief defender of the faith, Dr. Zayas, being prosecuted by Honoris, and being defended by Zira and Cornelius.
I'm assuming.
Why are they defending it? But again, if this is just a grand jury type thing,
It's not actually a trial.
we're presenting evidence and information.
Exactly, but I would still go back on the fact that this is somehow going to come back to Zira and Cornelius, if only knowing the knowledge up to this moment. I don't see why they would put Taylor on trial.
Right.
I feel like that they would have to put Taylor or Zira and Cornelius on trial at this point.
Well, and I think there is something to that. I think that immediately feels like they are on trial with him because they do
By
seem
proxy,
defensive.
yeah.
Well, you think about what Cornelius basically said to him, and I don't have the notes right in front of me, but it was something about be quiet, be smart, be quiet.
When he tells them to stay there, we're sitting down. That
Yeah.
kind of
Be
stuff.
clever, be quiet. I can't imagine Cornelius wanting to come in of this situation and wanting to, based upon what we know in his interaction with Taylor, him wanting to defend Taylor at all.
Right.
And Zira's there because she wants to see Taylor live. She wants to see Taylor be a part of her experiments.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I can't imagine Cornelius wanting to go along. I honestly just don't know who's on trial.
I just think it's funny that in this scene we get another man bun shot. I was just wondering if there's a stipulation in Heston's contract that there has to be bun shown in every 2 or 3 reels. I'm not sure.
So after the president introduces the prosecutor, Dr. Honoris, he sniffs. You see the president kind of go, and he kind of like picks his nose up, and he goes, "Bailiff, your instructions were to clean up the beast. The rags he's wearing are offensive to the dignity of the tribunal."
So it's okay for humanoids to wear a bra / bikini bottom or a Speedo bottom for men, but if they put a tarp over part of their chest, that's offensive?
He says
It's the smell.
He says the rags are offensive and to the dignity of the tribunal, and then the bailiff comes up and basically just kind of
Pulls it down.
yanks the robes off. We get, butt shot.
Hey.
So according to the Ape Wikipedia, it was Heston's idea to have him stripped naked.
It was not in the script.
He thought there was no better way to clearly and effectively illustrate that the ape saw Taylor as nothing more than an animal. If you stripped him of his dignity, that's the way the ape saw him. But is it great acting or is it overreaction when his butt cheeks clenched together so tight in that reverse
crack a
shot when it's
walnut
ripped
in
away that I thought, dear Lord, it there's that pensive nature, and his middle-aged butt cheeks are just
His finger
clinched
went
together.
clinch.
You really study some of these moments a lot deeper than I was expecting.
Well, there's something about ever since Sean talked about the fruit basket aspect of these guys jumping around and doing the whole Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs moment, that ever since then I look and I'm like, wow, but that is a tightly clenched butt. And it's not a very pretty butt, I have to say. I'm sorry.
I did want
No,
Taylor to
I
go
wasn't,
put his hips, his hands on his hip and go, nobody, nothing, anybody?
I can sing, I can dance, I got junk.
No comments? All right, fine, jerks.
So he's able to, when he yanks off, the bailiff yanks off the rags, Taylor managed to happen to have like a still small portion of it that he's able to kind of pull up in front of his private.
That something almost like rips away as the gorilla takes it, and
Right,
he keeps
so he
a
takes
part
the
of it.
upper part of the robe and the lower part of the robe, but he's able to kind of keep just a small shred of it that he actually kind of hoists back up to kind of cover his front privates, but not necessarily
Right.
the back. And that's relevant a little bit later on. But according to the script that I have, none of that was even scripted, right? So after that moment, the president says, "You may proceed, Cornelius." Not the prosecutor, but Cornelius in terms of his defense. I do like this idea of kind of dressing down Taylor, of making him not worthy of being in the presence of the courtroom. I think it's relevant.
Right.
it cements the fact that he is still a beast.
An
They call him a
animal, yeah.
beast. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't belong here.
They do treat him. Their words are as such to call him a beast. They treat him like a beast.
Yeah.
There's no question to that. If he's calling for the garment to be removed, though, because it stinks, the gorilla rips away half of it. He keeps half of it to cover his junk. Why doesn't the orangutan, which one is that? Is that Maximus that asked for it to be removed?
The president does.
Is it the president?
The president does, yeah.
Why isn't he asking for the rest of that garment? Does he not want to see him either? He's like, I don't want to see him naked.
I don't
Go
want to
ahead
see
and
your
keep it.
garbage bowl. Come on.
But think about the movie-going audience at this particular moment. Anytime we see nudity in a film today at the theater, it's always like, oh, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't
Right.
matter if it's boobs, butt, penis, anything. You see it flash on screen, you're like, oh, I wasn't
Boobs,
ready for
butt,
that.
penis,
There's
that
always a
pretty much
moment of
covers it.
shock.
What did you say?
Boobs, butt, penis, that pretty much covers it.
So this was a shocking moment. It was meant to be shocking, and it was. And can you imagine at that particular era when we don't
But
see...
we've already seen man buns once,
And-
three
but-
times
and-
earlier.
Okay, so but would it not be so much more shocking if he used his hands to cup himself to cover it? Is that too intimate to see a man fondle himself to cover himself in '68?
Maybe. But earlier they were-
Taylor's such a jerk. I expected the superhero.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Hey, take a look, everybody. You like what you
Hey,
see?
you know what? I'm a real man. Here it is.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he wanted the scene interjected into this moment, you wonder, is it ego or is it actually something intended for the script? But I thought it was very poignant.
Yeah.
I thought it was very, we're stripping you down to nothing. You mean nothing to us.
So in that way, Hesta made a good call.
I think so, yeah.
It wasn't just let me show you Moses' butt.
Me
It
show you the
was
squats I've been doing.
Okay. I hate to say it. He hadn't been doing any squats because it looked about like me clenching my butt cheeks.
Hang on. Drop your pants. Let's see.
It was 1969. Nobody worked out.
Except
Thanks,
for
Richard. So
Jackson
what
Abe.
you're saying now is in 2017, I have no excuse. I should look much better. Thanks so much, Richard. So how can Taylor know if there's any charge against him if he's a lonely human? Zira throws out that thing that he doesn't know that there's a charge against him. Is she acknowledging his apparent intelligence, or as a human never in a hearing like this, is she pointing out the uniqueness of that moment?
So the president says, you may proceed, Dr. Cornelius. By your leave, president, the tribunal has not yet determined the purpose of this inquiry. They don't know why they're there.
So why are they having it?
Even Zira and Cornelius do not know why they're there.
Right.
The president is kind of, according to the script, says he's taken aback. And then Zira jumps in. At the very least, the man has a right to know whether there's a charge against him.
But they're addressing him as a man rather than an animal, yeah.
But to have charges against you, therefore our theory, this being a grand jury, where they're trying to figure out, is there something to charge him with, then the truth is she's saying he needs to know their charges. This is more than a grand jury. This is an official hearing. And if this is the hearing,
Why
weren't any charges read against? Well, you could have a judge being the...
You're also putting human terms onto an ape sort of tribunal system.
Yeah,
so-
but they also mentioned heaven earlier, so I'm willing to mention human elements of...
They're also speaking English, so come on.
Therefore, I'm willing to say they're human. They're humans with makeup on.
So I would like to say that just based upon this unfolding of this particular scene, that they wanted to put a trial so that an argument could be made,
Right.
and they could potentially put Zira and Cornelius back in the situation without a clear focus on not necessarily the outcome, but what led up to this moment. Because we've got this situation where he doesn't know what the charges are, but they're giving charges to a man who's not really anything in their society.
Ape, yeah.
Right.
But we do strip him down. I don't know. There's just kind of, for me, a breakdown of logic in terms of how this unfolds.
It definitely has that I'm caught in between two places moment. I don't understand. Who knows? Maybe the coming minute will clear things up.
Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Do you guys have anything else?
On this January 8th? No.
Is it January 8th today?
Oh, it's so
God,
late.
it's like the year's already flown.